Hi, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the live session of Let's Talk About Market today. We have seen right now that the Nifty index opened higher, but suddenly it fell sharply, and one of the reason was that there are rumors that Trump will levy tariff on the IT services. So that was basically negative for the IT stocks, and that actually led to a sharp decline just I think an hour back. I mean half an hour back. So that is there, but we had discussed about this yesterday only. The setup of IT was very weak, and actually this is a good learning. uh, anyways, I'll talk a little bit more detail in that. But if we see the Nifty index overall, it is stuck in a range. So let me quickly share my screen and share with you the setup. Please confirm once you're able to see my screen and you all are able to hear me properly. Okay. Is my screen visible? Can someone please comment in the chat box? Okay, thanks for the confirmation. Let's get started. So see, we had spoken about this yesterday also. That 61.8% retracement was not held yesterday. Okay, and after that, basically, if you see, the gap area was the support level which I was mentioning yesterday. Even that got filled, and the Nifty index closed below that. So now, basically, this important now the high of 24,970 becomes an important resistance. So actually, if you see, there are multiple resistance around this 25,000 zone. So one is also the falling trend line. If we draw that, okay, it's almost around those levels now, so it will keep coming lower. But yes, basically, this is the zone now which is like a good resistance. And also yesterday what happened was that the RMI also gave a bearish crossover, and once it closed below the 40 hour I mean below this gap zone, this was not a good sign. Now, see, I have mentioned this earlier as well. Probably, I feel that the best case scenario for the Nifty index is that it is possibly, forming some kind of base, and that's where it is possible that it might form some sort of a triangular pattern, and maybe after that it starts rising higher. That is the best case scenario. But the worst case is that this turns out to be a head and shoulders pattern. Okay, so I have been telling this for quite some time now, that is this a HNS pattern or no? I mean, whether we'll break down or no, I'm not too sure. And that's where I was mentioning that this zone on the downside is an important support, and this zone on the upside is an important resistance, and that's where maybe we might end up getting a sideways pattern until these key levels are broken. I think once the resistance zone is broken on the upside, I have mentioned that there is a big short position that is still there. I'll discuss that in a while. But just to give you a context, FIs are extremely short. The long percentage is 8%, which is in single digit. I mean, historically, we have seen rally from there. But the only issue right now is that how long can those short positions sustain, and whether, I mean, I think the lowest point of the long percentage was 7.54% or something, which was over here, I guess. No, over here. So the lowest was 7.75%. And over here also we made a low of almost around 8, right? So, can it go below that? Can we make a new, uh, new low of this FI long percentage? I mean, these are all open, open for debate. But see, the point what I'm trying to make is that the FI short positions, even when the market is rising higher, they are not covering their shorts, and when the market is going down, they are again shorting more. So that means they, I mean, they are in fairly comfortable mode even if the market is pulling back, probably because they feel that the market might go down. So for that to reverse, the price action reversal has to happen, and that's where I've been emphasizing for quite some time now, that we need to break out from this resistance zone and from this falling trend line, and then the major resistance which is around this. I think once these two zones are taken out, I feel very confident that we will eventually go there. But before that, the risk is that we might fall. This might also end up making new low. I don't know. So that's where, I mean, given that we don't have the confirmation so far, I mean, anything is possible for now. Okay, so that is where we are. But one thing is for sure, that since we are at an extreme positioning, it is likely to get very volatile, because now it's like a rubber band which we have stretched, right? I mean, how far will it stretch? We don't know. But once everything normalizes, it is surely going to be a lot more quicker move can be expected, is what I sense in the coming months. So this is the first thing. Now, as I was mentioning, that see in I mean, maybe this triangular formation is happening, and these are the breakout and the breakdown zone. So this is what we need to watch out carefully. Now, see, one lesson today is from the IT sector, that saw correction, is that if you notice, we had discussed this yesterday only, right? So before today's news only, in fact, yesterday, okay, there was a sell crossover that we ended up seeing in RMI. And when the prices are, when there is a downtrend, okay, and the prices are not breaking above the averages, always take the sell crossover very seriously, okay. And that's where there are chances of some accidents as well. Now this is the case for the Nifty index as well. So in Nifty index, maybe smaller time frame we are okay, but in a higher time frame there are still risks that are there, which means that we have not turned around. We have not seen a bullish crossover. Even monthly RMI is in sell for a while, right? So this is where the risk is, and that's why I have been emphasizing that wait for the price action reversal. Until we don't get that, all the risks are open at this point of time. So you can't be complacent thinking that 25 300 sorry 24 300 is an important support that will not break, and so on. That we are very resilient despite all the news flow, and all those things are right. But when the breakdown happens, the moves are even more swifter, and maybe we might not even get the time to react also. So while say the Nifty index is falling, we might always think कि थोड़ा bounce आएगा तो बेचूंगा, थोड़ा bounce आएगा तो बेचूंगा, but that may not happen, and it might fall one sided as well. So that's why I'm just trying to caution you, because the weekly and the monthly charts are a little weak, and we have to be mindful of that, okay. And once if the range breaks on the downside, then all risks are open. But if this range on the upside is broken, which is of 25 160 to 25 250 zone, so then I think even if there are some negative things that is visible on the monthly chart, I'll ignore it for the time being, as long as we don't see the reversal on the daily chart, okay, which means daily or weekly getting weakened. Until then, I would tend to ignore. So there are times when we tend to ignore something, but then there are times when we need to focus on those data points, okay. So see, when we are in an uptrend and when we are rising higher, okay, at those point of time you might ignore this, because that an important support level is held, and from there we are coming up, and even sentiment indicators were suggesting bearish zone. So that's where you don't concentrate on this thing at that point of time. But now, given that we are correcting, and given that we are directionless, we need to be open for all the risk that is there on the table, right? And as I was mentioning earlier as well, and say for all the IT stocks, if you see. So, say for example, Infi is down, 1.4%. Again, in the past 2 to 3 days, we have started to see some short built up. So this is what I was mentioning earlier as well. That can it again go higher? Yes, possibly, and that's where we have to be mindful, and we have to look out for firstly the short term reversal and then the medium term reversal. Okay, and that's where once the medium term reversal occurs, maybe breakout from this trend line would be one thing, and then probably closing above the averages will be the second thing. I mean, once that happens on the weekly chart, all the short positions which are there, which have, I mean, aggressive short position which have been formed, I think those all will go for a short covering eventually. But till then, be open for all the risk. Then the other thing was that even yesterday we got the GST news and everything. Market sold off from the high, and if we see the FIs, they further shorted more yesterday. So I'm not sure. I mean, I am reading that there is because Trump is behind India, so all the FIs usually are from there. They are shorting, and all those syndicate is there, and all those things I'm reading. So anyway, see, frankly, these are all good for the talking point, but when we want to trade or when we want to execute something, we have to focus on the price action. And the price action so far is not very supportive, and it is kind of directionless at this point of time. So that's where we need to wait for some sort of confirmation. Now the point is that if this is the case, then what do we do, right? And this is where somewhat your bias will also come into play, whether you are bullish or bearish at this point of time, because I see that there are risks that are involved. Maybe I might not want to take a lot of chances on the upside, and I might want to see what is getting weaker. Okay, so in those scans, I will try to scan for the stocks where the RMI is going into sell. Now, of course, you can short it only in FNO, and that's where I end up getting this list. While I was checking this list, there are two things that I could see. Basically, Federal Bank, where it is still making lower tops, lower bottom formation. So this is where there is one of the risks that is there. Then apart from that, IT stocks. Okay, IT stocks also, they are possibly trying to break the averages, or they are not able to break above the daily averages, and that's where some risk is there. So this is one. The other way, for all the people who want to focus on the price action, so then Dow scanner comes into play, where you can choose the FNO basket and try to find the stocks which are breaking the previous high, a previous low. So for that, I would say up to down, which means the prior trend was up, but now it is breaking down. Right. So this is how you will be able to filter. So this can be a couple of ways to filter filter out the stocks which you want to probably uh, I mean, short it or keep it on your radar, and you can see if you're able to find any interesting patterns over here. Then the next thing also that you can do is that you can actually go to RRG. Okay, see, I have told you that I have made the stock ka list. You can go to FNO stocks and try to find the stocks which are turning from the top. Okay, which is basically losing momentum, and preferably that they are into the I mean, improving quadrant, and then, because everything on the left hand side, understand that they are underperforming the Nifty index so far. Okay, that's why the RS is lesser than 100, and that's why they are appearing over here. So say for example something like Godrej Properties. Okay, I think reality, we have spoken that it looks a little weak, right? So let us see Godrej Properties. You can see that the RMI is still in buy, but over here, it is not basically trying to break above the averages. So then maybe you might want to try to find a short setup. So see, it has just gone today only, but that way you can probably make a list of FNO stocks, where you include 50-50 stocks. For now, I have mentioned that we have tried to do 100, but that is not getting reflected in the index yet. But what you can do is that you can make 50-50 ka watch list. So to make 50-50 ka watch list, go to the heat map, go to FNO basket, and over here try to select 50-50 stocks over here. Okay, so that way maybe you'll end up with five watch list, because we have currently around 214 or something stocks. So that's where you'll end up with five watch list, and then you can go to the RRG and see where is it weakening. Now you might ask the question, should I look daily, should I look hourly? So it actually depends on your time frame, but what I find is that daily is a lot more reliable if you want to think from a 1 2 to 3 weeks perspective. So the way I would think is that I if I know that something is gonna get weak in the next say 2 to 3 weeks, so what I would try to do is that I'll try to continuously find the bearish setups on the hourly chart. Okay, and that's where in that case the time frame on the hourly chart ends up becoming say 1 day to 5 day perspective. So that is how I would think. But of course, different people may have different way of analyzing. But just to give you a context, when things starts turning around from improving from up to down, so what happens, I have explained this earlier as well, but earlier the momentum is the one that first starts deteriorating, and then it is the relative strength that that basically leads to further more sharp decline. Now within this list I can see PI Industries also, where we are seeing some sort of downtick over here. So let us see the chart of PI Industries. So PI Industry on the hourly, it is making lower top lower bottom formation. On the daily, it is below the averages. So maybe if this low breaks, then this could be a good reversal level also to watch out for. And maybe then you can actually sorry, you can. I see. It seems like there is some issue. Let me check PI Industries. So yes, on the hourly chart, basically, then you can try and manage your trades. Okay. So maybe you can keep the reversal level somewhere over here, but that is another effective way that I have seen. Where you can find your short positions if you want to create. I mean, this is the second method, and the third method is the strike OI insights. Okay, over there you basically try and see which are the stocks which are near resistance or above resistance, and try to find the stocks where the highest open, where the OI change is very high. Okay, now you can see that Polycab. So probably Polycab is likely to face a very strong resistance at 7,300. So over here, then I'll try to find if I am able to see any short setup. Okay, so here you can see that. Okay, now this is actually, it has been inching higher. Okay, so over here maybe shorting might be risky, so maybe I would want to avoid it for now and see if there are any other things. So that is how, that is another way that you can try to find the stocks. uh, so yeah, I think this is that. And one more way is that try to find the stocks which are below support. Now below support means that they have broken the put base area, and try to see where the OI changes in double digit. So that means that the put sellers are not so confident of this level holding, and also watch out for where the addition is, where you see there is a lot more room between the future price and the OI addition price input. That's where maybe some opportunity can come in. Okay, like if I see in these cases, I mean, in all of these cases, it is very much close to the put base, so that's why maybe a good setup might not emerge, but this is another way that you can see. Okay, so this is the thing that you need to watch out for. And in fact, even today is the weekly close, so you might also want to see which are the stocks that are giving weekly sell crossovers as well, right? So it's delivery and Syngene. So Syngene ka the weekly setup is bad, but in the daily it has seen some up move. So maybe you can wait for some reversal to occur over here, but this can be one on your radar. The other one, as I mentioned, through Dow trend, you can check that on the weekly which are the ones that are breaking the previous week low from up to down. Okay, and this, of course, you can choose the FNO index. So I think there are none which are breaking the previous low, and that's why the results are not appearing. Yeah. So there are none which are breaking. So yeah, but basically broadly these are the ways that you can check it. Now, if you have any questions, I can take it up. But yeah, basically the idea is that watch out for the sectors where some weakness is there. And yes, this is one more thing I just forgot to mention. If you see the Nifty chart, basically this was in a channel, right? And Nifty is now around the lower end of the channel, so also watch out for this. If this breaks and sustains below that, I mean, that will further confirm weakness. But at this point of time, the bias would be slightly bearish. That is because the trend, I mean, the RMI is also in sell mode. If you see the sentiment indicator, that is also correcting from the higher levels. Okay, and I think I need to see, I did not check what is the diffusion indicator saying, but see over here also, even in this past 2 days, there is a good amount of stocks that have gone below the 20-day as well. So we need to be a little mindful and be a little careful. And ideally, matlab, the best outcome would be probably if this falls to over here, and in that case even the the percentage of stock below 20 and all, I mean, this will be the time where the risk reward will be in the favor of the buyers. Okay, at this point of time, it's even Steven, and that's where risk reward is not good. Now, whether that will happen or not, that we need to see, but I'm just trying to tell you the setup that we need to look out for. If at all we want to be a little more aggressive in buying, till then, because the broader trend is still not so clear and it is hinting towards some weakness, it is better to be a little careful. Okay. HCL Tech, is there an head and shoulders? I need to check. HCL Tech. Oh, this is the larger head and shoulders that you're telling about. We are talking about, right? I'm not sure. I mean, let it materialize. It is still too far. I mean, this if you if you say, then it also holds true for IT as well. I'm not sure whether such decline can happen, given that there is a huge short position in IT. I'm not sure if at all this head and shoulders pattern will break on the downside or no. Uh, but I mean, let's see how things unfold. At this point of time, my guess would be no, because of the short positions that we are seeing in the IT stocks. But let's see how it evolves. What about Bank Nifty? Yes, Bank Nifty, I forgot to discuss. Thanks for reminding. Mm, So bank nifty, if we, so let me first check RRG, because over there, we were seeing some uptick in the momentum. Okay, so we are seeing some uptick in momentum. So this is at least some bit of positive for the bank nifty. Now, when we check next of the setup, so let me go over here. Let me go bank nifty. Yeah. So over here, there is some bullish crossover that we might end up seeing. Now, one thing that I will watch very closely is that if we are able to get a positive weekly close or no. At least if we get a positive weekly close, there is some swing that we can work with. So basically, if there is a positive weekly close, maybe if there is a positive weekly close and there is a bullish crossover here, then maybe I can say that this low is very important, and if it does not break, then there is a chance of a pullback at least till the averages, and then we take it from there. But basically bank nifty is still in a downtrend only. Okay, but what we can expect is some bit of pullback, maybe towards this upper end of the channel, and we take it from there. So watch out for the weekly positive close. If at all we get a positive weekly close, then there is a chance that this low can be an important support level in the near term. And as long as this low does not break, there is a scope of some bit of pullback. A larger pullback will only come when the 40-day exponential breaks on the upside and the channel breaks on the upside. So yes, basically that is how I would view bank nifty index. With insurance company, can you see for double? Insurance companies like MFSL, HDFC Life. Okay, I have not tracked those stocks, but they have been in news also for a long time. But yeah, one thing I know, actually, we had discussed this briefly. See, this is a big range breakout that HDFC Life is seeing. Okay, so far what it might look like is that there is a breakout and there is a consolidation that is happening over here, right? Now, whether this ends up becoming a false breakdown, I mean false breakout, I cannot say for sure. I mean, see, 40-day becomes an important support level over here. Okay, I mean 40-week, in fact. So if at all this breakout is genuine, then maybe what we might end up seeing is just some consolidation over here above the 40-week, which can lead to RMI also going back to the zero line, and then once it starts picking up, you can expect that the new leg of up move has started, right? But if it breaks the 40-week and goes down, then there will be a risk of this entire thing playing out. Basically, this and this. So, if the 40-week breaks on the downside, the initial level that I would look out for this trend line support, and if that also breaks, then maybe furthermore bearishness will come. But 40-week becomes a crucial point. Then you mentioned MFSL. So MFSL also, if you see, basically this was a big cup and handle breakout, right? Which we have seen over here. Now, is this just a pullback after a consolidation? Again, over here, in fact, you can see that the breakout point and the 40-week both are around the same levels. But yes, to certain extent, your call of double top, I may not go to that extent to say double top, uh, because say for example, even if the neckline breaks but we are above the 40-week, there is a high chance that this might end up becoming a false breakdown, and then it might rise higher. It's only when with the breakdown the 40-week also breaks, then it is surely in trouble. Until then, what I would think is that this was a breakout, it saw a runaway move, and after that it is probably consolidating, and maybe just like HDFC Life, it can come back to the zero line and then start picking up. I mean, that is what the initial thought would be looking at this. But this is definitely one interesting sector to watch out for, because the both the stock which you mentioned, they have actually given a breakout on the weekly chart. So need to see how it unfolds. But thanks for bringing into notice. It's an interesting setup. I'll probably keep these stocks on the radar. So I don't see any more questions. We have already done 30 minutes, so maybe we can wind up for today and probably meet on Monday and hope that Trump doesn't say anything in the weekend. So yeah, thanks a lot for joining today, and let's meet on Monday and see what trend are we seeing in the stocks and the sectors. So thanks again, and see you tomorrow. I mean, see you on Monday.